right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Vicki Chats podcast. I have a very special guest in the studio with me today from the heart of Louisville to the community spirit of Waterloo. Norm Johnson is the man who's carried the YMCA mission across state lines and straight into Black Hawk County. He's the executive director of the Family YMCA of Black Hawk County, county builder, encourager in chief, and guy who can probably give you 10 good reasons to get moving before you finish your morning coffee. Join us for the Community Pulse. It's just a joy to have you there. Yes, every third Tuesday at 2 p.m., a little bit earlier for the podcast, about noon, you get to see Norm Johnson in all of his glory. It's such a joy to have you here. We get to celebrate caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility, and shine a spotlight on all the ways the YMCA strengthens our community from the inside out. From your South Dakota roots to your years shaping the lives through YMCA in Louisville, Norm, you bring a wealth of experience, a big heart for service, and a deep passion for community well-being. Whether we're talking youth programs, wellness wins, or everyday heroes walking through the Y's doors, this is your monthly reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that community is alive, well, and growing stronger in Black Hawk County. Let's dive in. Welcome, Norm Johnson.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here. It's always a great time to hang out with you for a little time and just talk about the Y. So,
My pleasure. It's such an honor for me. Norm, when you're not in the YMCA, what helps you unplug and recharge? And does music or nostalgia from the 80s ever sneak into your downtime?
Yeah, music and nostalgia from the 80s never leaves my downtime. So
there you go.
I think that's really pretty true. Again, I love to work out. It's a big part of who I am and what I do. So even though I'm at the Y, I get away from that in my own little space. I love to do woodworking and love to work on house projects and things like that.
Wonderful.
That's what we did as a kid growing up. Eric and I, we moved into a home that had no basement, was about 1,100 square foot. And when we both graduated, it was 2,700 square foot with a full basement underneath it. And so a lot of remodel going on all the time.
Good
so
for you.
Dad he passed a lot of those traits on, whether we wanted them or not.
Right? You didn't have a choice.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So you've been part of the Y movement for a long time. What's something about the Family YMCA of Black Hawk County that makes you especially proud right now?
Well, I think honestly the way we've evolved, and I think that's really critically important. How we have seen an increase in membership, an increase in the reach of the community, what we're doing program wise.
Yes,
and I think that is that's been really important for us. If we would have stayed doing the same things all the way through, we're just not going to grow.
Exactly.
And so that is just. I think that part, with the volunteers and board of directors and the members and recognizing that if we're going to stay viable in the community, we need to offer things that the community wants and needs.
Right. Exactly. So the YMCA often becomes a second home for people. So what does it mean to you personally when someone tells you the Y changed my life?
Well, again, I think those are, they're always very heartwarming stories to hear. And I think you get an opportunity to take a second and realize how important this comment, this person, this corner person was in somebody's life. And I happen to work with an organization that does that regularly. And, again, you hear that from kids, you hear that from adults, you hear it from our seniors, and the examples they give, they're not always these big, overwhelming life decisions that happen. It's the consistency of there was somebody here for me, or somebody, it always tends to be a personal story, whether it's a teacher, a coach, somebody at the front desk, a lifeguard, all those pieces out there that there's no small role in the YMCA. And I think that's very critical to remember in really most of our roles, that we all have the ability to impact somebody positively.
Yes, we all do. So, if you had to explain the YMCA to someone who's never stepped inside one, what would you tell them? What do you think would surprise them the most?
Well, I think really the thing that surprises them most would be the family orientation that we have, that we truly
Yes.
have something from infant care all the way to our senior care. And that's probably hard for a lot of people to recognize in their head. We talk about this gym and swim status, and that's important to us. Again, as we evolve, we have to evolve
Yes.
to, I mean, we can take high caliber athletes
Right.
and we can take beginner athletes and we can still put
Yeah.
them in similar settings and identify what their needs are and set them up on that. And so, we're all an athlete at heart. So that's why I use
Yes.
that term in there. But so we have to do that really well. Our aquatics pool, when we have, a third of the county or half of the county learning to swim at a YMCA, that's pretty impressive when we look at that. And so those
Yes.
are big pieces what we do.
Huge.
But when we talk about our childcare,
Mhm.
and again, whether it's childcare at the Y, whether it's the before and after school programs, we have at 10 different sites across the county. Whether it is sports programs that we do, whether it's a special event that we hold, I talk quite a bit about our community integrated health, where we work with health professionals and partners and run programs such as our Live Strong Cancer Survivor Program. That's a really critically important program, and we do some exercise in there. Obviously, we talk about that, but it's a lot of support based programming and being there and getting people started in the right way. If they've because it can be a challenging disease and not knowing where to go with that. Then we have things like diabetes prevention. We have Live Strong, we have blood pressure self-monitoring programs. We have arthritis programs.
Nice.
When I was in Louisville, we had Parkinson's and Alzheimer's programs, and it's something we're looking at bringing here with some additional partners. So those are all things that I think maybe are so peripheral that people would say, I had no idea you did that. And yeah, we've been doing that for 30 years. So yeah, we do.
That is amazing. Yes, and you serve people, as we said, from early childhood through older adulthood. What's the joy and maybe the challenge of impacting such a wide range of ages?
Well, I mean, the challenge for sure is it's a very broad-based, diverse membership and community that we work with. I think as that can be much of a challenge, it's also something that's really incredibly important for our community.
Yes.
And if we truly are here for all.
Right.
I know I spoke a couple months ago at an opportunity summit, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about diversity and all these pieces. And I smile and I go, for 175 years, the YMCA, our mission has been to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. So we've been doing this diversity and for all thing for 175 years. So let's really talk about what we truly are here for everyone.
Yes.
And again, I think those are the pieces that maybe sometimes we take for granted or our community takes for granted, but that's really the backbone of who we are as an organization. And I think that is that's really pretty powerful.
Exactly. Norm, what's one misconception about the YMCA that you'd love to clear up for our viewers?
Yeah, I think I think not just the YMCA, but let's say health and fitness at all, that you've got to be in shape to even go to a workout facility.
Right.
I think that is, I think that might be a little bit of a misconception. Nobody cares what you're wearing. I hate to say it. So,
right.
But we don't.
Right.
We want you to be healthy. We want you, that's how we started that whole Smart Start program is, let's take you, if you're a very beginner, and let's guide you through what you want to do. And more importantly, let's find out what the reason is, because the scale and the mirrors and some of those things are going to go away soon enough. So let's identify really what your goal is and how do we get you to that goal and what that why is behind you.
Exactly. And the why is so much more than fitness.
It is.
Where do you see community connection happening in those small everyday moments?
Yeah. So, I mean, gosh, so as we have these community tables, we call them gratitude tables, where I get in usually at 5, 3 days a week, and 5:30, 5:45 on the other days. And I'm saying those tables are full from roughly 5 in the morning
Ooh, yay.
until 1 o'clock,
Oh,
and, so
beautiful.
there's probably 80 to 90 people that stop, maybe have a little coffee. Hopefully it worked out before or worked out after, but you know what, if they hadn't,
Right.
that's fine. And I was just saw, when we talked about blue zones and talked about connectivity,
Mhm.
we recognize what social isolation is.
Oh,
I just saw
yes.
a talk yesterday and talked about how to live longer. And, for better, for worse, exercise was like third lower on the totem pole. And, diet, okay, that's some of the, and we go into all these things, but you know what it was? It was relationships that people have and the connectivity of people's friends. That was the highest
Oh, wow.
determinant if somebody's going to have a longer, healthier life.
Oh,
and I think
beautiful.
that's,
Yeah.
so again, as I talk about, sometimes we don't talk deep into the fitness, and I can drill that to you all day long. But
Right.
really, the bigger piece is, hey, we've created an opportunity where people can get together, share their lives, share a cup of coffee, share a glass of water.
Right.
I'm telling you, in the morning, there are usually treats out there that would not hit the health and fitness guidelines that we should be serving.
Oh, my.
But I just call it, it's our, hey, we'll pull you back in. Go ahead and eat that donut. Come back tomorrow.
There you go.
So
pull you back in.
But again, I think that's where people connect, and that social isolation that we realize it was so critically, it's such a great challenge for people when they're on their own. We're meant to be together.
Right.
And so I think that's a huge part of what the YMCA is able to do.
It's beautiful. Just beautiful. You've spoken to me in the past about the pandemic and the research that was conducted. Can you share that with our viewers?
Yeah, well, again, I think the pandemic was how devastating that really was. And I was at a conference in 2019, December of 2019, right before the pandemic. And Dr. Jerome Paul was sharing he's the Surgeon General for the United States of America.
Nice.
And he was talking about the 3 greatest impacts in the health and well-being of our country. And talks about diabetes. And we're like, okay, we recognize that. And it's some lifestyle changes that really have to happen in some things. But that's a huge percent. The next thing he talked about was social isolation. I'm going, gosh, I'm a pretty intelligent guy. What's he talking about? Social isolation. It was not quite on my radar.
Right.
And he talked about how Meals on Wheels, it was no longer about the meal. It was about the interaction that somebody who stayed home had. How the UPS and the United States Postal Service and Amazon and all these delivery companies are having this incredibly inefficient program where they're seeing delivery times are taking double the time it used to be. And when they talked about the delivery drivers, they said, what in the world? Why is it taking so long to deliver the mail or package? He says, hey, people are waiting for us at the door and they want to give us cookies and milk. They want to talk about this. They want to invite them in. And so and this is before the pandemic. And so when we started talking about that, and then, the COVID virus said, hey, hold my beer. I'll show you what social isolation is.
Yeah.
And we're locked in together. And that was, it's hard. And thank goodness for technology where we could at least FaceTime, we could Zoom call and Teams call. But it's still not the same as being next to somebody going through that. Right. I think that's really one of the greatest impacts that the YMCA can have is kids can be together. The adults can be together. Right. We have our little cohorts of groups, whatever that group is, and we can be together on that. Yes. And we're seeing these incredible challenges, come education, and these kids who, we're trying to get educated through these forums. Right. They're behind, and we're seeing that they're behind, a number of years, and we're going to see. Thank goodness for grad students. They're working on these pieces of how the COVID conflict has really determined how it's impacted education from early elementary to middle school to high school, and how people interact or don't interact to college. And then we look at the health and well-being cues of where those things had, and we look at how addictions has gone over the edge on these. I mean, there are so many social pieces that this unfortunate event has really impacted, and we're going to see. We're going to still see fallouts as we go through this stuff. So. And we got to give people grace, recognize where people are at during that time. And people are still scared. And what you don't know about is that can be scary. So that's a short rant on, but the Y recognizes that and how we're able to, again, find places where people can be together in those common likes, if you will. And again, whether it's education, whether it's health and fitness, and whether it's a big group class or a small group class, or swimming or whatever it may be, we're finding ability to try to be something for everybody.
That's beautiful. You've watched families grow at the Y. What's it like when kids return years later as parents, volunteers, or even staff?
It's the best. I mean, I can look at I think, one of the proudest things I have is I think I'm somewhere between 12 or 13 CEOs across the YMCA movement that were program directors for me, part-time staff that were inspired, have stayed with the YMCA, have grown in their role in the YMCA. I think that's really cool. I had a parent at volleyball last week.
Okay.
He came up and introduced himself. He was dropping off his daughter and somebody else's kid, and he came up and talked to me and introduced himself and who he was. And I don't have permission to, I guess never talked about this, but I looked at him and said, holy cow, your mom worked for me and she was the greatest. How's she doing? Yeah. Anyway, he's been with the Y movement. It inspired him. He was looking at that coming to the YMCA. He was in Des Moines for some time. And I thought, how cool is that? And I appreciate him telling that story. And I think those are, or seeing kids that that you've seen as young program people grow up, and whether it's through athletics or whether it's through theater or whether it's through camping, I think those are just those are really cool stories. And I know every time I get together with my girls, we'll talk. Somehow it'll shift, of course, to some Y program, some Y event, and it always comes back to camp. What they did at camp, some stories there, and I think those are great memories to have. And I think that for more families to have those kind of memories, or kids having those kind of memories, or adults having those kind of memories as they grew up in the Y, I think are just, that's what's going to keep us, the movement going.
Exactly. And access for all is central to the YMCA mission. So why is that commitment still so critical in today's world?
Well, again, because if I looked at what our Blackhawk YMCA looked like 2 years ago, what it looks like now, we were not as accessible as we certainly needed to be in our, just in the layout of our facility. So again, the volunteers, our vendors, our partners, we took a really hard look at that and said, we have got to make sure that our members can access and they can navigate our facilities and get there. And just because we have an elevator doesn't mean we're accessible for all. So again, we have a couple family locker rooms now. We have easy access to the track where you can walk out a door instead of going up steps and down steps. We have cleared out we just made some bigger open areas that people can navigate through the YMCA. That we put health and well-being really a lot closer together, so people can move back and forth in that area and not have to transverse 300 yards across the facility to go from a treadmill to a stepper to a group exercise class. That our childcare is all centrally located in one area. That our sports is kind of centrally located in those areas. So those are the bigger pieces of how we really made our facility more accessible, and we're really intentional about that. And I'm I think I'm really proud about that. I share that we've got 14 nonprofit organizations that we partner with in the YMCA. And out of those organizations, 10 of them work with people that may have some special needs and have some special needs just in how they are able to, traverse and move. And again, just being able to get on a track, to get down to a basketball court, to do some of these pieces there has just been a great story for us to be able to tell together.
Exactly. And it's so beautiful, aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, this whole change, the young people out here, like, for example, Nicholas Koloff, he goes often. I see him at the Y. That's our owner, Jim Koloff's son, and he's our CEO here. And he always says how much he loves the Y, how everything's, like you said, so accessible, but that it's just beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Well, I think it's one of those things that we, lighting and paint and the carpet and
everything.
And quite honestly, my custodial team does a phenomenal job keeping the place clean.
Yes.
Just how all those are things that matter. All those little things matter.
Yeah.
And I think those are, that's been important. We're by no means done.
Right.
That's, recognize that. But there are lots of little things we can do to make it more aesthetically pleasing. And then we continue to try to work on those.
Exactly. And fundraising events like Strong Kids and Party Like the 80s bring the community together in a different way. Why are these nights so meaningful to the Y's mission?
Well, I mean, we help raise some money there. Again, the cost of the ticket's gonna go, part of that's going to go to the annual campaign. And the annual campaign is really, we're able to subsidize our programs like childcare, like this community integrated health programs, like how we scholarship families and kids for our memberships. And again, those, what we're able to subsidize is, it's well more than what we take in.
Right.
And I think that I really appreciate the board of directors and the people around, because there are YMCA's that say, hey, we're only gonna scholarship this, or we can only subsidize this as what we bring in. And our organization here in Black Hawk County says we got to work harder. We're not turning anybody away. When we say we're not turning anybody away, we doggone well better mean we're not turning somebody away.
Exactly.
And so we work with community partners that would not be able to utilize facilities if we didn't do those type of things. We work with families. We work with adults and kids that, again, wouldn't have access to our facilities if we weren't really a cause-driven organization.
Exactly. And this year's event has a full-on 80s theme.
Yeah.
What's your personal connection to the 80s? Favorite song, style, or memory?
Everything with a hairband I love, for sure. I mean, Zubas, those never went out of style as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So, parachute pants. I had big thighs, so you know what? I just liked them. That was good.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're looking forward to this. It's this event, what we're doing is it has a buffet. So it's a barbecue buffet, which is great.
Barbecue buffet.
You got a couple drink tickets out there. There's some silent auction things. You get some really cool, all kinds of things, community things that, from gift cards and lots of sports memorabilia and services and so forth that you're going to use anyway. So it might as well not, why not help make a difference to an organization. And then the band is, they're going to be doing 2 or 3 sets of 80s music, and it's a phenomenal, fun band. They'll cover everything you can imagine that came into the 80s. So, that's all for good cause. And, we'll share a little bit of impact. We'll talk a few stories. We have some members going to come in and talk about their impacts. Yeah. And so even if somebody's not a member there, they're going to hopefully recognize that, wow, the YMCA is really a pretty cool community organization.
Exactly. And it's only 61 for a table of 6, or 141?
No, 210. 210 for a table of 6. 210
My
for
bad.
A table of 6. Oh, yeah. So, but individual
numbers aren't my thing.
You're fine. So individual ticket's $40, and you get a table for 210. So what a bargain! And
yes,
when you sit there and think the cost of a meal and a couple drinks and paying for the band, it's we're breaking even when it's coming to that part.
Yeah, right.
But we really want people to have a great experience, and that's I think that's the other piece is that people connect the why with fun, connect the why with a cause-driven organization,
Yeah.
because it truly is a great charity, and then talk about the work we're doing. Then that's you know what? Then doggone it, that's the price of the tickets.
Yeah,
That's good.
exactly. And it's February 7th,
February
Saturday
7th,
night.
Saturday night starts at 5:30, and the band starts, I believe, at 7 or 7:30, and so it'll be a really fun night.
Yeah, Waterloo Convention Center.
Convention Center,
The place
Waterloo.
to be. Jim Burnite and crew, they do such a beautiful job for us when we're there.
They really do, and they have been so good to work with.
Mhm.
And again, I already consider them a community partner.
Yes.
We are. Jim and I, we're ambassadors together, so we've
I love
got to do a few other
it.
things in there, and I just it's a beautiful venue. Again, the staff have been great to work with, so
Exactly.
we're super excited to bring back there.
Awesome. So do you want people to pre-register?
We really would, and so you can go
yeah.
on our website and find the registration. It just gives us a little bit of clarity on how many people are going to be coming in, and so we're looking at meals and so forth on that. Table set up and so forth. So the Blackhawk County YMCA website, it's on there. You can call the front desk, and we can get people set up in there.
Yeah.
You can talk to any member, or any staff. We'll get you secure.
Yeah.
And where you're going to be at. So we're looking at a couple hundred people that will be here for this event.
Wonderful. What's your website address?
www.family YMCA or Blackhawk YMCA.
Okay, Blackhawk
YMCA. Yep.
And I remember the phone number. I'll never forget it. 233-3531.
That's right.
Area code 319.
And you'll get a smiling person on the phone.
Yes, you always do.
And
don't you love that?
Yeah.
Dylan, Peter, Jody, they're all amazing. You can hear them smile. That's right.
We talk about this whole thing, greet to great. And
yes.
It's really important that our members are, their members are, they're touched 3 times when they come into the YMCA.
Ooh, 3 times.
They're greeted when they come in, and again, that's really great.
Yes.
They're greeted on the way out, and then we are hopeful that somewhere through the facility they have been greeted by another YMCA staff person.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
The frontline, the program staff, it doesn't matter that they've had those connections, and that really what is part of those pieces that keeps a YMCA.
Profoundly beautiful. So events like, let's switch the topic for a moment, if you would please, the indoor triathlon. They show a different side to the why. So why do they say, what do they say about the spirit and diversity of your community?
Yeah, I think, what I love about any kind of event that we do, you're going to have high caliber individuals doing that. Right. I think that's awesome. And you're going to have first timers doing that. And I think this indoor tri is one of those areas that, hey, have you ever wanted to do a triathlon? Well, yeah. Well, I don't want to swim in a lake and an ocean and a river.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind swimming in a pool.
Exactly.
That tends to be some of those bigger challenges where people are at. So the swimming piece we do internally, the cycling we do on our spin bikes.
Sweet.
And running we do on treadmills. So
I love it.
How do you beat that? I mean, there's no traffic. There's no, you have a personal guide, if you will, that is going to be monitoring and showing you where to go. And it's really, it's spread out throughout the day. So you have different start times, and it really is a fun. It's a fun event, and for a number of people, it might be a bucket list. For a number of people, it might be a warm up to another event that they're going to do. Maybe it's another triathlon, or So again, whatever the reason, we're glad that people are doing it. We're glad to offer that.
Exactly, and that's coming up in February.
February 21st, Saturday, and again, like it's throughout the day. So. You work with our staff, and we'll get you kind of set up on, a start time and finish time. And for most people, they'll finish this within an hour. Wow. So again, I think
amazing.
An hour seems like a long time of swimming, running, and biking, but
it's beautiful.
It's certainly doable versus some of these. You see some of these amazing people who do these events that takes 18 hours
Right.
to do. So,
Right.
We'll start a little smaller.
Yeah, start a little smaller. I love it.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. So, you don't have to be an elite athlete
No,
or even a regular gym goer to participate in YMCA events.
right.
Why is inclusion such a core value?
Well, again, those two words in our mission statement,
Yeah.
for all, really
For all.
has really brought that through there.
Beautiful.
And we really want people to feel comfortable
Yes.
of whether it's ability or
Yeah.
race or creed or ethnicity or religion. I mean, we really want
Right.
people to feel comfortable coming into the YMCA.
Exactly.
And, we're kind of hey, you're all welcome. This is
Yes.
a judge-free zone, a guilt-free zone, and
Right.
you're part of the YMCA. So,
Guilt-free zone,
yeah.
judge-free zone. I love that. So, can you share a moment from the YMCA event where you stopped and thought, this is exactly why this work matters?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm a sucker for stories. So
You are?
and so when
Uh-huh.
I'll get blindsided probably almost weekly, but I'll get blindsided by somebody that tells a story about when they were a kid or how important the Y was in their growing up, or in a
Yes.
moment even in the last few years, and how that really impacted them. And I think
Yeah.
those are, when you hear those things, and I'm able to share those with
Mhm.
the staff team, or the staff team hear those things and able to share them with all of us or the volunteers. I mean, that's when we know that hey, this work really does matter.
Right.
And not every day is roses and sunshine.
No.
It's always a balmy 72 degrees at the Y. But,
There you go.
but there are some there's better days than others, and that's
Yes.
that's just all of our work. But
Mhm.
without a doubt, when you're hearing those impacts, when you're seeing
Right.
those firsthand,
Yes.
then the work matters, and that we're doing the things we need to be doing for the community.
Exactly. And looking ahead, Norm, how do events like Party Like the 80s help position the YMCA to continue strengthening families in our community?
Yeah, I think, as I shared with you, I'm going to Des Moines tomorrow for advocacy.
Yes.
And what I ask upon my staff, what I ask upon our volunteers, even what I ask upon our members is advocate on behalf of the YMCA.
Yeah.
So here's a great special event, a great fun event.
Mhm.
And, if everybody's going to walk out of there with understanding one, maybe more thing,
Right.
what the YMCA does that they didn't know before. Man, I had no idea you guys did childcare. I had no idea you did swim lessons. I didn't know you did Live Strong programming.
Exactly.
I didn't know you worked with other special populations or whatever it may be.
Right.
It's just another way that people can share that work and talk
Mhm.
about that work. And, really that's a huge part of, we talk about friend raising and fundraising and all these pieces. And again, we have to be able to sustain the mission through
Mhm.
these thoughtful, meaningful gifts. But, if people can feel good about the organization going forward, that will come back to us. So I think that's those are kind of some of the underlying pieces we do here. We have a chance to just show off some of the cool impacts that our staff and members are able to make in the community.
Exactly. And so to close out, Norm, what's your invitation to someone who's viewing us who hasn't been to the Y for a while, or maybe have never walked through those doors?
Yeah. So either way, I mean, we want you to see. We're very proud of what we look like now, what we've done, where we're at, and where we're going. But if you've never been in a Y, or certainly our YMCA, we still want you to come in here. We're not going to show you. We may not go back, and this used to look really not so good. Now it looks like this. We're not going to go into those stories, but we will talk about what we're looking at doing and why we're looking at doing these things and what our facility looks like, and just take you through a tour that's just a really open tour, and what you're able to do here, what happens here, impacts. It's like little bus stops all throughout the YMCA that hey, this is more than treadmills. This is helping somebody manage their arthritis, or it's helping somebody on their journey to their health and well-being, or it's on the strengthening part is hey, so strength training's great. I love strength training, but you know what? I got grandbabies and I've got kids I had to raise, and I've got, I still have to be grandpa and build stuff for the kid,
Of
all those
course.
things. There's underlying, I'm not competing anymore, but I kind of am, because I gotta, make sure I'm staying healthy for all my WHY, which is family, right? So I think those are the stories and the impacts we're able to share.
Right.
But we really, if you haven't been here, we really would love to welcome you in here, give a tour, show the facility, talk about maybe even a special event or whatever really resonates with you. I think that's the big piece is we're not trying to channel you in just a one or two things. There's going to be something hopefully that catches your attention. You say, all right, well, this looks inviting to me.
There you go. 669 South Hackett Road in Waterloo.
That's right.
319-233-3531. Mark this date on your calendar, February 7th, Saturday night, 5:30. Bands takes the stage at 7. They're called the Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
Yes.
It's out of that 80s movie, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what you're going to wear.
Me either.
Right? All right. Thank you so much, Norm. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I appreciate it.
Such an honor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day. We'll see you at Party Like the 80s.
Take care.
Take care.